Okay. Welcome to the January 11th chat. Matt is back, and it looks like you made it. Barbara,
I'm here.
84 is the number. So we have a number of announcements before we get to Matt, and the first one is Faye Busgang. Unmute.
Robin Sherman wants to make an announcement, and I'm doing it on her behalf, that Mal and Barbara Sherman's family is hoping that their friends and neighbors can help celebrate their 65th anniversary by joining them for cake throughout dinner at Centro and then a piano concert by the fireplace. The concert begins at 7:30 p.m. and will last about an hour. The cake will be plentiful all evening, and she didn't tell me what the date is, but I think it is the 18th. I think maybe she told me that before. Not positive. I think it's the 18th, but keep track. I think it's next Thursday.
You're right, it's the 18th.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. So you're all invited to come and help them celebrate.
If I may put my 2 cents into this wonderful offer, I'd like to mention that this is not going to be a formal concert, more like an intimate musical salon-like setting. So people don't have to sit by the piano. They can be anywhere in by the fireplace, or maybe even like somewhere on the terrace. It's designed to create a special atmosphere for the anniversary Blue and Go.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on. Dorrit Senior. Dorrit, unmute.
I want to announce the next social action group meeting, which is going to take place in the synagogue next Tuesday, which is January the 16th. And everybody is welcome, and I really urge everyone to come, because they have a wonderful, wonderful speaker who I've had the privilege of. Her name is Liz Miller, and she's on the staff of an organization called Love and Spoonfields, which is an organization dedicated to facilitate the rescue and distribution of healthy, fresh food that would otherwise be discarded. They work throughout the greater Boston area, in the Metro West, Worcester County, and Hampden County. And they get excess food from grocery stores, supermarkets, produce wholesalers, and farms, and they redistribute it to people who are really needed. And she is really a very interesting and excellent speaker, and I urge you to come. So that's next Tuesday, the 16th, at 2 o'clock, excuse me, in the synagogue. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Ross.
Thank you, Jerry. The dining committee met this week, and I wanted to give a sense of what we were talking about, the importance of it. At the same time, I'll obviously leave details for specifics to members, to Eileen and Josh and the food and beverage team to go into that. So I'm not going to address any specifics in that regard. Focus of the committee is obviously to work with the management team in ensuring both the quality of food and the quality of service, looking for ways where we can make improvements. Much of our discussion this month focused on NOSH. There are a number of ongoing areas that are being discussed to improve the dining experience there. And this, obviously, if we can do that and make it more attractive to all of the members of the community, this may take some of the pressure off Centro. The dining committee formed a subcommittee, which was chaired by Mayor Fine. The purpose of that was to reach out to the community as a whole, and which they've done, and there was a feedback from them to bring in the opinions of both those who keep kosher and those who don't about what would make Nosh more attractive. This was a information gathering process, and the details are under review and being taken under very active consideration by the food and beverage team. A second area that we discussed, and I think is important to everybody, is just the general workload that the Food and Beverage Committee is involved in, so that people should be aware of this. It's not just the dinners that are served in Centro and in Nosh, but there are a number of other things that put pressure on the food and beverage team in the form of special events, whether it's New Year's Eve, the interfaith dinner, a lot of things that we don't see on an everyday basis. And this has an impact on us, and it's remarkable how much work they are doing. I just want to point out two things where we as members of the independent living community can get a better idea and can participate and help. First of all, there are the kitchen tours. The next one, I believe, is scheduled for January 23rd. If you haven't done this, I would just urge everyone at some point to take one of the monthly tours with Eileen and the staff. They start at the central reception desk. The other important thing I think from everyone's perspective, but from the committee and from the food and beverage team, is they welcome feedback. If something isn't right, or if something is very good, let people know. You can do this by talking to a member of the food committee. You can do this with an email to any of the management team, Josh, Eileen, etc. So please think about that. If you had a meal that you really enjoyed, that they did something special, let us know. If there's something that isn't quite the way you think it should be, let them know. Thanks, Jerry.
Okay, you're quite welcome. Sharon Gouveia.
Hi, everyone. You have journeyed with the Wind Down Travel Agency to France. Well, get your bags ready, as we're going to Switzerland on January 22nd. Be sure to bring your passports. For those who didn't get one because we ran out, we will give you one when you come to Switzerland. All passports will be stamped. We'll give you a France one if you were there in France, a French stamp, as well as a Swiss stamp. And for those of you who join us in all of our destination cities and have their passport stamped, at the end of our journey, you will receive a special prize. By the way, free airfare. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you. Susan New Rochelle.
Hi, I just want to remind everyone that the Volunteer Outreach Committee is going to be collecting winter items between January 15th and 18th, and these include scarves, gloves, hats, hand and foot warmers, and new socks. And these items can be left near the waterfall in Nosh. Thank you.
Thank you. So Rabbi Judy.
I didn't mean to send my request to everybody, but now I've outed myself that I had a New Year's resolution to ask for permission in advance, and I didn't do it. Thank you anyway, Jerry, for being so lenient and giving me a turn. I wanted to announce two things that are coming up. Number one is that next Wednesday, January 17th, we are launching the resident-led Minyan at 12:15. It's a brief afternoon prayer service that will take place in the Beal Family Interfaith Chapel. It takes about 15 minutes, and people who wish to say Kaddish for a loved one during the week would have that opportunity to do it, and together with friends. The other announcement is that for January 26, which is just about 2 weeks away, we will be having a special communal Shabbat dinner to celebrate Tu B'Shvat, which will take place in Great Meadow Hall, and a flyer will be on its way out to you. It will be a kosher meal. So I look forward to seeing you at both of these events. Thanks. That's it.
Thank you. Tara Fleming Caruso.
Thanks, Jerry. There are 2 educational sessions next week I want to share with the community. The first one is Wednesday, the 17th from 12 to 1. It's by Zoom, and it's a presentation by the Wolk Center for Memory Health. They're going to talk about why you might want to call them. They're going to give diagnostic tool information, assessment information, and treatment and support information. You should receive constant contact invitations if you haven't already. And then on Thursday, Newbridge 101, which is a monthly educational session, also by Zoom, walks you through all of the supportive services available to you as residents. And that is taking place from 2 to 3. Again, you should have already received the invitation, but if you have any questions or you didn't, don't hesitate to reach out to me. Thank you.
Okay. And so we're ready for you, Eileen and Josh.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. I just have 2 little things, and then I will hand it over to Josh. First of all, we had a great dining committee meeting on Tuesday. We are still working through some of the NOSH items to kind of relaunch it. So we went through the stuff that we went through with the mock survey and had a great conversation. All that's working really, really well. Things that are holding us up right now is the equipment and actually the technology. That's kind of what's holding us up right now. But once we get that up and running, the sooner we get that up and running, the sooner we will relaunch the NOSH. In saying that, there's many different layers to relaunching it. And one of the layers is staffing, which is mighty, mighty important. So I'd like to make an announcement that we have a new NOSH manager, and her name is Charmaine Bardal, and she's Shirley's daughter. She's worked in assisted living for about 3 years. She came in as a server and soon progressed to be a supervisor in assisted living. And she's been over in the NOSH the last couple of weeks just to see if she liked it, and she was kind of helping us out as we were very busy during the December, and she is now our new NOSH manager. Now, as for Carlos, Carlos is still there, and Carlos is our supervisor. And to be fair, we want to thank Carlos for all his hard work, but we do definitely needed to give Carlos some support. So with Charmaine and with Carlos in front of house, we have also added a junior sous chef in the back of house, and her name is Dawn Carrizo Artisan. And she was, when she first started about 5 years ago, she was in the NOSH as a cook. She progressed her career, and she was in assisted living and in long-term care, and she became a junior sous chef in the long-term care, and now she's back to us in NOSH as a junior sous chef. So I would like you to please welcome Charmaine and to Dawn. In the next in the next week or so, myself and Josh and Adriana and Patrick will be all out to make sure that you meet these 2 great ladies and introduce yourselves, and we'll introduce you to the 2 girls as well. But that's another layer of trying to fill up the ranks in NOSH to get NOSH up and running. And then finally, I'd like to say thank you as well to Sharon and to Michael and even Rabbi Judy, because we still have a few events going on in the month of January. For instance, this Sunday coming up, we have the Central Brunch. On the 17th, which is next Wednesday, we're doing a Mexican themed night in NOSH. So please join us for that. That will be fun. On the 22nd, which is the following Monday, we will have the wind down. We also have the kitchen tour the day later on the 23rd. And then Tushibat, I didn't say that right, my apologies. And that is on the 26th. So we have quite a few things going on for the rest of the month in January. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Josh coming up as well.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Eileen. That is really great news. I believe that those announcements on the staffing will also be reflected in Matt's letter and in the culinary corner tomorrow. So thank you very much. I also wanted to thank Michael for his summary of the recent dining committee meeting. As he mentioned, feedback is important and welcomed, and certainly conversations with any member of the dining committee, as Michael mentioned, is a great way to communicate feedback. But also for those of you that use the dining website, there is a contact us tab, and you can either reach out to a specific member of the dining team. Their contact information is listed individually, or at the very bottom of that page or the main page is a contact us where you can send something and submit it. That will go directly to me, and then I can get it out to the correct person to get a response, or if it is feedback, can share it with the team. So just wanted to mention those additional resources. Starting tomorrow, as many of you know, there's been comments and concerns over the to-go containers, and this has gone back quite some time. The black to-go containers that we use for dinners in Centro and Nosh are not recyclable. I definitely want to mention Sid Giuseppe, who put together a program where they were reused, not recycled, because of the color, not the actual content of those containers. They were not recyclable through our refuse company and for most refuse companies. We have been trying for a long time to source something that is either compostable or recyclable, and we were having trouble finding the right container. We think we may have it. So starting tomorrow from Centro, we are going to be testing some new containers. They are a clear plastic. If you receive one of those, which the majority of you that order dinner to go from Centro should, you can rinse it and put it in with your other recyclables. Feedback on these containers is going to be very important. They do feel like they might be a little bit lighter than the other containers. So we are looking for feedback to make sure there's no unanticipated problems with these specific containers. We have enough for about a week's worth of to-go orders. So based on our observations and your feedback, we will determine whether or not this container can take the place of the black ones and thereby be recyclable, which of course is a very good thing, for the green initiatives. So thank you for that. And I think, Jerry, that's really all I had. I appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks. Larissa Levitch, go ahead.
Thank you, Jerry. I'm sorry I did not submit my request, but I appreciate you accommodating it. I'd like to bring to your attention a program that I planned for next Wednesday at 2 o'clock based on many requests coming from the residents. I invited a speaker. He's a professor. He's a doctor of philosophy from Connecticut University. And for many years, he's been researching and writing about anti-Semitism on college campuses. So he's coming straight from New York, actually, to talk next Wednesday at 2 o'clock. I hope that many of you find his talk interesting and mind-provoking. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jerry,
Yes,
I can't do the raise hand thing.
go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Josh, you said they're going to use clear containers. Why can't you use cardboard containers?
Thank you, Faye. So we, again, we did some testing. What we found with the cardboard or compostable or organic materials is that they become very saturated with hot food items, especially if they're very sauce-based. They become saturated to the point where they can leak or they absorb so much that they just aren't conducive to many of our entrees. So we did test some of those items and we just found that they would not hold and present you with an enjoyable meal. They would affect the quality.
However, there are a lot of restaurants that use them.
There are, and you know, I would say that the majority are using the Black Action ones that we have been using. The majority of them. There are a lot of ones out there, Faye. And I actually ordered Mexican recently, and it was in one of those containers, and it had kind of leaked into the bag. So, I mean, we can research anything, Faye, and we can certainly present it. But from our findings, we did not think for the amount of to-goes and how long sometimes, you know, they may, you know, sit in your apartment or whatever. We just didn't feel that they were viable. And these are recyclable, and we think they'll hold up better. But if we find that they don't, we can try another option.
Okay, that's generated a lot more questions. So Marcia Vanichelli.
Yes, I hope somebody is also testing them to see if they're easily opened, because the round containers that we now have that are clear, I have to confess, I often use a screwdriver, and I use it by punching a hole in the middle of the container and then reaching my thumb in to try to pull it off. I may be the only one who has this problem, but I hope that they'll be tested for senior hands. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcia. And we are aware. We've made some changes to those, and we feel I don't think you'll need a screwdriver for these. But again, that's why I'm asking, and we only ordered one case of each of these to get that type of feedback. And if we find they're not acceptable, we'll try something else.
Okay, thanks. Rona Goodman.
Hi, two questions. Can these containers be put in the microwave? That's question number one. Question number two is in Nash, when you're planning to change the way the dinners are being cooked and all of that. Do you have to stand, are we gonna have to stand in line to get our food like you do now? Where people are waiting and pushing and all of that? Or is it gonna be a completely different system?
Two great questions. First one, these containers are microwavable. Everything that we do, we don't want to give up anything. In other words, if the black ones were microwavable and stood up well, we do want to be green, but we also want to make sure we provide you with the same, you know, quality and consistency. So yes, Rona. I'll answer briefly, and if Eileen wants to jump in, Rona, it's going to be, the future of it would be a hybrid. There will still be some grand buffet nights. Turkey night would always be a buffet night. But on the other shoulder nights, not Shabbat, not Turkey, not Sunday, the service model will change. And when we're ready to announce that in prime time, we'll do our best to explain, present how this service would be. But it would not be a get up and stand in line buffet on those particular nights, Rona.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Marilyn Stone and then Terry Union.
Josh, is the private dining room going to be open on Sunday for the buffet?
Is the private dining room going to be open? I can't answer that. Could you reach out to Adriana? I mean, she's the one that does the floor plan. I think it really depends on how many guests we have and staff, of whether, if you have a special request though, I would certainly refer to Adriana or Jennifer. And if you'd like to request to be seated in there, I'm sure they can accommodate that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Terry Union. Unmute, Terry.
Sorry, I always forget about that. So, Josh, I just want to thank you as a member of the Environmental Committee for finally being able to change the containers that we have fought to get rid of for 2 or 3 years. Does this mean that there are no black ones left? I hope that's what it means, and they won't be used again. And also, if these containers are recyclable, that's wonderful, and they don't go in the trash. And anyway.
Thank you, Terry. I'm sorry it's taken so long. Our plan would be to eliminate, if these were the go-ahead, we would eliminate the black. If we had leftover, I'm sure we could either donate them, but I wouldn't hesitate to start using the clear plastic right away. And so, yes, Terry, as soon as we find that they're acceptable, we would implement them in both Centro and Nosh. We're choosing Centro as the test restaurant for now.
Okay.
Thanks. Serena Kafka.
Yes, I was on the elevator that broke down last night between floors in the 5,000 building.
And I'm really concerned about the elevator situation. I wonder if you could give us an update on when all the elevators will be available and what's going on? Why should that just happen like that without any warning?
So that's part of Matt's presentation.
Good.
Why don't you hold off and then we'll take, if you have a follow-up question, we'll do that. And I think we've reached that point, Matt, where we're ready for you and welcome back. Hope you had a good vacation.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Nice to see everyone. I had a wonderful vacation. Jess Coleman did an amazing job while I was gone, so I actually got to take a breather, which was really awesome. And I'm glad to be back. You know, it's a good vacation when you're ready to get back to work. So, so it worked out perfectly. Serena, good question. Before I get into my topics, I'm going to invite Fernando to give us kind of a state of the union in regards to the 5,000 elevators. Fernando, are you here with us?
Yes, I am. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Going to give you an update on the elevator. For starters, the issue we had the other day was a pressure switch that did not switch as it should. So we got a hold of Kone. They came out and they took care of the issue. Just to let you all know, 2 weeks ago, the state was in and they inspected all of the elevators and ran them through their inspections and everything was fine. Okay, things do happen. As for the elevator that's down, we are making some good progress. Believe it or not, they've started testing that elevator. They ran it through some testing today, and they will continue to run it through some testing tomorrow and to kind of tweak it. And they're hopefully next week, they're going to reach out to the state to have the state come out and go ahead and put it back into service for us. So we are very close to getting that second elevator back up and running.
Any further questions, Serena, on the subject? No, you're muted. I didn't get here. I'm unmuting you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say it again.
I'm sorry, I should have put my hand down. I didn't.
Okay, so that answered your question. Okay, Matt.
Fernando, thank you very much for sharing. That's some good news. It's right on schedule as we anticipated. Tony's been doing a nice job with that. And Fernando, thank you for managing that process. I've got some news that is almost as exciting as recyclable to-go containers. Anybody that reads Newsweek, you may have noticed that Newbridge on the Charles was listed number 34 out of 250 continuing care retirement communities across the United States. So I'm not sure what metrics they used because I think we're number one. But as soon as I learn, I'll share that with everybody. But that was some nice news and some nice publicity for us here on this campus. And nobody reached out to us to ask anything. So reputation or quality outcomes, I'm not sure how we ended up in that space, but it was very exciting. Along the lines of a job well done, I wanted to take a moment to recognize our landscaping department in AQPS with the great job that they did with the snow removal. When I came to work Monday morning, I left my neighborhood, and my neighborhood was not good by any means. And I got here on this campus after driving an hour to get here, and it looked the best I have ever seen this campus. And I thought, compared to years past, where we hit some rough patches, I was very, very pleased. And I hope you all felt the same way. So just a little shout out to the snow removal team who worked very hard to make this campus clean and accessible. At the same time, I think there's also been some news stories in the local media lately about the COVID wastewater data in Boston being the highest that it's been in 2 years. And I don't say this to make anybody nervous, but historically, when that wastewater data jumps up, we usually see a little bit of a blip here in the Newbridge community. Right now, we have one case in independent living, and we don't have any employee cases, which is great. So we're not seeing it here in this community, but please know that it's prevalent, obviously, in this area right now. So continue to do the things that are very important. If you don't feel well, stay home. If you're exposed to somebody that is COVID positive, make sure you mask in the community and test like you would normally do. and you can test out on day 5 and take the mask off, although we'd ask you to refrain from dining with others. If you are exposed, we want to reduce the amount of potential exposures that we could potentially have. So if you feel off just a little bit, please, please, please heed the warning. Let's get through this blip. Let's watch the wastewater data come down. I'm certainly aware of it, and we are ready to act and implement more protocols if need be, if we see the numbers starting to jump up. Right now, knock on wood, everything is going status quo. So that's good news. Before I move on, I just want to see if there are any questions pertaining to COVID. This is the never-ending topic.
Don't see any.
All right. And if anything comes up, you know, as always, feel free to reach out, give myself or security a call. We're always in line with what's happening, so we do our best to stay ahead of it. Monday, as a reminder, is the MLK holiday here. And this is particularly important for those of you with housekeeping scheduled on Monday. So I'm just going to read a quick blurb, and I have it in my letter tomorrow as well. But units scheduled for cleaning will take place on Tuesday, January 16th. Units scheduled for cleaning on Tuesday, January 16th will resume on Tuesday, January 23rd. It's a little confusing. So make sure tomorrow when the letter comes out, if you have housekeeping scheduled for Monday, you read it so you know when your housekeeper will be there. Speaking of snow removal, tomorrow night into Saturday, we're not expecting any snow, but we are expecting another very challenging wind and rain-driven storm. So if you have errands to run or anything that you need to do, please keep in mind that Friday into Saturday, the weather is going to get a little bit tough. They're talking again 40 to 50 mile-an-hour winds, and they're talking about a lot of rain once again. Here at Newbridge, we will be prepared as we have been. We've had discussions with our leadership team in preparation for such things. So rest assured that if that is the case, whatever happens in this community, we are ready. And then lastly, I want to bring something up that kind of shocked me a little bit. So every Friday, Mark and Joe, who are just simply amazing, they print the weekly packets that a lot of the residents use. And that has my letter in there and culinary information and all that information. And the number that I heard was that we were printing 170 packets a week. And that number is actually incorrect. It's actually 200 packets a week that we are printing. And if you think about that, that's a lot of paper. That's a lot of ink. And that's a lot of time for Joe, Mark, and Kendall to put out there. So I have a request. And the request is, if you're comfortable using a digital platform and not having it printed for you, if you're on the list to have it printed and put in your cubby, but if you're comfortable using the digital platform, it would mean a great deal to us as a leadership team because it ties up a lot of resources, number one. And number two, there's a pretty significant expense that goes along with it. I'm not sure exactly what that expense is at this time. We're actually looking into it so I can get a hard number around it. But it has an impact. That is a lot of paper when you add it up every single week. With that, Jerry, I think I've covered all of my topics, and I would like to open it up for questions.
Okay, well, Josh Ferraro is the first questioner.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. And Matt, just to piggyback, if there's anything that the community relies on in regards to dining in the printed version that you feel can be added to the dining website electronically, please reach out to me either directly or through the contact on the website. I'm in charge of adding content to the website. And if there's something I'm missing or that isn't available electronically that you rely on in print, I'd be happy to do my best to add it and avoid having to print it. So again, I want to just piggyback the anything that we can do to support getting us off the printed as much as possible. So thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Josh.
Marlene Yesley.
Yeah, I was getting it only electronically, but I was missing things. So about 3 weeks ago, I had to add my name to the print ones. Just wanted you to know.
Thank you, Marlene. Did that mean that in the digital format, we actually missed putting stuff in there?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't remember what it was. It was a few weeks ago. It wasn't last week when the schedule And last week, of course, the program schedule wasn't on because someone was away, but it was before that, and I missed a few things.
That's really helpful.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, Larissa.
I actually would like to add my voice to Matt's and Josh and encourage you to rethink how you want us to communicate with you in a way that not only is more environmentally more appropriate, but also allow us to provide a very professional way of communicating. If you look at our slides and any other communication tools, we try to make it very attractive and very nice looking. This is a good thing about it. But the bad thing, it means that we're using tons of ink, and we acknowledge that. And it's a dilemma, what's more important? So we appreciate your feedback at how electronically we can be more friendly and more appealing to you. And we will give it a good try. I think we all have the common goal.
Okay, thanks, Maya. Fine.
So that was a very good suggestion to let us know what's missing from the hard copy, but those of us that have not been getting the hard copy for a very long time don't know what's missing. However, you probably know what's in the hard copy, so somebody on your team should go look at the dining website and the whole touchdown frame and see what is in and what is not in.
Mayor, thank you. I just put it on my notebook right there, so we're on it. Hopefully that is not a consistent issue. Hopefully it was a one-off.
Mark, go ahead.
Thanks, Jerry. I just wanted to add to what Matt was saying. The other place that we do have them printed out, we do print out a large copy of the entire foodie every week that is posted. One is in the library, and one is also in the little lobby area right next to the front desk in the 5000 Center. So people do have access to it in that format as well. If they want to see a hard copy, not electronically, we have them printed and available there as well.
And Barbara Goldstein.
Yeah, I agree with Marlene. Two of the things that have been missing in the past couple of weeks, one was the new housekeeping schedule. I called Jess, I emailed Jess right away, and within a half an hour, she sent it out. And there was something a couple weeks before. So sometimes it's those extra things and they're not in the digital. And you hear about it by talking to somebody who got it printed. So I think there has to be, I don't know, somebody who really coordinates what comes on the digital and what is in the printed one. And then maybe people would use it.
We will be working on that. And when Lynette gets back from her leave,
yeah,
her role is transitioning a little bit. She's going to be our admin, but in addition, she's going to be in charge of communications. And so all communications are going to funnel through Lynette, and Lynette's going to set the standard and make sure that everything is crisp and clean and all departments are talking to each other and that it's all working the way it's supposed to. From your end as a resident, I can see you smiling already. There's a lot of information that goes out and it competes with each other, and there can be 10 emails one day for the next. It's just needs to be cleaned up. Okay. And so that's going to be Lynette's main focus when she gets back from her maternity leave. With that, we're not expecting her back for at least 2 or 3 months. So we're going to be treading water until we get her in here to do this very deep dive.
Okay, Marilyn Stone.
What was happening was 2 weeks in a row, the old menu, the Nush was printed, and I called Josh and it was fixed. But that was, excuse me, 2 of the weeks when they had something that was improper. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks, Marilyn.
Thank you, Marilyn. And just as a response, I just want to offer that when something like that comes up, you know, I identified that it was it was a problem with the website itself and was easy to fix. Marilyn, thank you so much for calling me. If you call me on my office, it will go to my cell. And if you leave me a message, and I knew it was something that needed to be addressed. So Marilyn, thank you for alerting me to that. And, you know, in my effort to support these efforts and in this initiative, I will always be available to update if something, you know, gets missed or gets, you know, it's off. Thank you.
Hey, Carol Marlin, you've been putting your thumb up and down. That doesn't move you into a priority place, but did you want to say something or just express a reaction? Wait a minute, I have to unmute you. Go ahead now.
Okay, so I can be savvy with the digital, but I'm reluctant to because the Nosh menu, it's been, not so consistent. But one of the things I think that really should happen, and Friday when that would have gone into the mailboxes, that it does go into the mailboxes for people who have a hard copy, that the digital copy of the weekly calendar that mimics the foodie in every way should be on, online at that moment. I mean, it should be simultaneous, so we don't have to wait sometimes a day, sometimes a few hours. It just should be there. That's one of the reasons that I have been reluctant to give up my hard copy. So
Thank you, Carol. Keep in mind that if the cubbies go out at noon, that menu for Nosh is still relevant up until 2 p.m. So it won't get updated before 2 p.m.
No, I know, but no,
Okay.
I understand that, but
Okay.
I like to look in anticipation. I may not look till a day or two later, but sometimes there is an inconsistency. If people know there's no difference between getting that hard copy or getting the digital form of the weekly calendar in every way, then I think that it will be more popular as people become more and more, able and comfortable with digital. But it's not so consistent. It has to really prove itself that it's consistent, and then people will use it.
Thank
So
you. Agreed.
it goes both ways. It goes both ways.
Okay, Barbara Nadish.
Josh, this is for you specifically. Were you able to resolve the problem that I called you about this morning about these 5:45 a.m. or 6:45 a.m. reservation?
Yes, that one I was able to. I'm still experiencing an anomaly with the Nosh online reservation. So again, I encourage anyone, technology is great. Technology supports us, but technology is not perfect. And so if there ever is an issue, please pick up the phone to call. If there are reservations available and for some reason the online's not working, we're happy to put them in manually by calling Donna or Deb at the Centro host stand for Nosh or Centro. But thank you, Barbara, again, for bringing that to my attention. And I did identify and fix that issue.
Great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, we'll see you next week. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry.
Bye.